Welcome back everyone, this is episode 12 of Redstoning with Steve, and today's going to be a bit more of a technical episode rather than a practical one, though it does have practical applications, and we're going to go over tiling and tileable circuits and really how to make circuits modular and kind of the tips and tricks you need to kind of watch out for if you want to sort of make good tileable circuits. So as usual, we're going to jump straight into it. So I know a couple of you are thinking, what the hell does tileable or modular or all these kind of complicated words mean? Well, I'll show you an example. This is pretty standard AND gate. Only when both inputs are on is the output on. Pretty standard. And this is all well and good, but what if you wanted to kind of stack these next to each other in a small space? I don't know, you could do that, I guess, and that. And then, but you have the wires crossing, so you can't actually put them there. So you'd have to move this actually one over, just like you kind of get the picture. But so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 blocks for 2 extremely basic AND gates. And this is kind of, it's a bit annoying if you really want to build kind of compact circuits. So that's where the concept of tiling and making something modular comes in. And I've got this contraption here, and it is an AND gate. It is a little bit different, but we have one input on, output off, other input on, output off. Only when both of them are on is the output on. So this is an AND gate, as you can see. And this I actually did invent this. This was it is featured in one of my videos for you guys who actually watch some of my other videos. So go check it out. And sorry, I'm just putting this together here. You can see this, and you notice, and I put the redstone lamps there because you can't have the redstone wires because they'll interfere. And you can also have repeaters at the end of this to take the output out if you want. So we have one AND gate, and you can see I can activate one AND gate right next to the other without interfering with the other one at all. I can turn this one off, and yeah, you can see they're not interfering whatsoever with each other. And you gotta admit, this is a pretty good improvement. Here we had 2 AND gates in 7 blocks. Here we have 2 AND gates in 2 blocks. So pretty big improvement, no matter what way you cut it. Yeah, so this is kind of the concept of tiling. It really, you just gotta, it's about compact wiring, and I'm going to go through some of the tips and tricks. Stuff like this is actually not that hard to make. It's not as hard as it sounds. I know I say that a lot in this show, but it's true. Redstone isn't as hard as it sounds. So I'm going to go through the common tips and tricks and the traps people get into when trying to make something tileable. So some of you may be saying that in this setup, why don't I just do something like this and then put a repeater there? It'd make the AND gate a lot faster. If it was like this, it'd be instantaneous. Well, that's because if we were to do that, look at that. Look, 1, it wouldn't work at all, and 2, it's interfering with the other one. That's not the definition of tileable. The definition of pretty much modular and tileable sort of contraptions is that one sort of column can't interfere with the next column at all, and these are the kind of tricks you got to watch out for. So I'll do this. In the output here, we kind of have the same problem like this, but it can be easily remedied by doing something like this, and in turn we can do this. So now they have exactly the same delay to this. Both have 1 torch delay. I'll just shut both of them down. And I've broken my own rule there, so we'll do this. There we go. So basically, the first tip in building tileable contraptions is if you're doing it in two sections. So this brings me to another point, I guess, that tileable things don't have to be just one section. If you watched my bud switch, tileable bud switch array, which is over there, and we will go over to it in a sec, that is a 2 wide tileable section, because in that particular setup it was impossible to have one tileable section for the whole thing, so we had to have a 2 wide tileable section. And if you're doing stuff like that, you want to be doing stuff like this. You don't want to be having redstone wire right next to each other, because if you do that, the two sort of things are going to interfere with each other. So repeaters next to redstone is okay, but redstone next to redstone is not. So now we'll jump over there, I guess. So this is my tileable bud switch array, and link on screen right now. It's quite a recent invention, and it came about, again, I think I was watching one of Etho's videos and he kind of inspired me to do it. This is the first version of it, and it can be modified greatly. There is no set way to do this, and in fact I have come up with better designs than this. For example, this piston can also go out sideways, and it can be made a little more compact. You don't need to use that bottom bit. But that's not really the point. The point is, just looking at the tileable section, you can see that there's a pattern. It repeats every 2 blocks. And that's because you can't have the pistons right next to each other, because it is a bud switch array. So if the pistons were next to each other, the piston extending and retracting would cause the block update. So you can't possibly have them next to each other. And that's why it had to be 2 wide tileable. And you can see this in action. You can see I haven't put redstone dust next to each other. I've put only the repeaters next to the redstone, but not redstone next to redstone. And there is another little trick, and I'll see if I can find a good example. I'm not sure if it will be in this contraption, but I think I'll just have to force it. Alright, so ignore this bit for now. We'll get rid of that stuff. Say this stuff wasn't here, and we wanted to actually pull the power out of here. Say we wanted to pull it out with a redstone torch. So we wanted to do this and then have it go up, wait up. See, this is perfectly valid. You could have it like that, which is exactly the same result as I had before. But if you have a look at this. This redstone torch is interfering with this redstone wire. So one section is interfering with another, therefore the tileable section will not function properly. So this is another example. So basically, you got to be really, really careful with your redstone wire in tileable contraptions. It's pretty much the main cause of I guess, bugs in systems like this. It's the redstone wire, and mostly what you want to be doing is just using redstone repeaters and torches just everywhere and almost ignoring redstone wire. Usually what I do is I go through with, unless I really need the redstone wire, I go through with repeaters everywhere in the sort of tileable contraption, and then if I can later, I'll go back and replace it with redstone wire just to make it a bit quicker. And yeah, that brings us to my last tip. So for my last tip, I'm going to use one of my own failures to prove a point. This is my crack at a tileable double piston extender, another version of it. I've already made 2 versions, and my second version is actually quite close to this. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of make it a little bit more compact, so I was working on this, and you can see this goes to this, and this comes through and powers this piston, which pushes the block over here, which when this piston gets extended will extend it. And then turn this off. This one comes off first, retracts, this one retracts, and then this little thing down here is the thing that causes the last initial push. So I'll let you see it. Yep. And yeah, you can see works perfectly fine in its state. This one should work okay. In fact, I don't think I've got the delays right on this, so it should work fine now. Yep. So you can see each section works perfectly well, and you can see there is absolutely no redstone dust anywhere in the entire system. So it should be tileable, right? Like, yeah, that one works fine. That one works fine. I can't see any reason why it wouldn't retract. Oh. Okay, what's wrong? Okay, alright, now it retracts. But I don't have any redstone wire or anything. So if this isn't retracting, that means... Oh, this is still on. Which means... Wait, this piston should have retracted. And there you have it. And that is my mouse spin. And there you have it. That is pretty much the cause of the problem. Can anyone see it? Yeah, it's a bud switch. And this is... And I'll just show you. So... I have this. You can see it's the same setup. We power it, power this one, and then break that one. And you can see it's bud switch. And that's the reason why it's not retracting. And this is one of, in piston creations, it's one of, well, it probably is the biggest problem in these tileable designs. Another one to watch out for, there is another sort of trap that you can fall into, and that's if you're powering it from the side, sometimes you can power pistons in the next lane over. Or glowstone lamps or something like that. I can't really think of a good example at the moment. And yeah, you can bud switch sometimes the next lane or the next sort of column over as well. So bud switches, they can be really troublesome in piston creations, and especially in a double extender setup such as this one. So just one more quick trick here before we wrap it up, guys, and that is this. This is a thing I whipped up. It is an RS NOR latch array, tileable RS NOR latch. I think it will. I don't think this will bud. No, it shouldn't bud, so it should be tileable. Then again, I haven't really tested it, so you can see one output, other output. And the main thing I want to point out is this. The main thing I find with tileable circuits is transporting signal downwards. Transporting it up, easy. You can just do torches and repeaters all the way up. But transporting it down, you need to use something like this, either just with a piston or using this. And what this does, and I'll get some redstone lamps, and you can also do it with redstone lamps. What this does is provides power to this repeater, powers this block, and then it turns this on. Now, powering this block creates a bud for this piston, but only when this updates does the piston extend. And also this follows on that when you depower this, it removes the bud from here, and then when this updates, turns off, it retracts the bud switch. It retracts the piston. And this is a very good way to transport signal an extra block down. So it's a very neat trick, and mostly you want to be using pistons to transport signal down mostly, and then having a torch at the bottom, or alternatively this. But usually a torch is more compact. So yeah guys, that just about wraps it up for this episode. I did have... Oh yes, I will be doing episodes on Cube Hamster server, well, not necessarily episodes, but just showing off some stuff that I've built, and those will be up and about the channel, in and around the channel, should I say, very, very soon. Stay tuned. I recommend you go give the server a look. It is quite good, and Cube Hamster is quite a nice guy, and he's on pretty frequently. So you can go meet a YouTuber, I guess, and maybe you'll meet me on there. Who knows? So Hope you enjoyed this episode, guys, and I will catch you next time. Stupid sheep.